Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh how amazing you'll be.
G'day everyone, how you doing? Hey Lachlan, hi Pollard. Welcome to the stream. Hey, we're back to doing some Xamarin UI challenges. So I actually found quite a nice design that I thought, that song, I thought we might have a go at starting. So let me switch over, let's have a look at the design. And for those of you in the US, I think it's Happy Turkey Day, right? I don't know. All right, so let's have a look at this design here. This is what we're going to have a bit of a go at. Might take us a few streams, but it's one called Coffee Ordering Animation, Starbucks from Nat M. Tran. So it's actually a really nice design. I kind of like its simplicity. I like the interactions, and more importantly, you know, when I do UI challenges, I like to sort of pick something that I haven't done before. So this has some nice opportunities potentially for paths, I think. Maybe we can use paths for those coffee cups and that sort of selector in there. It's got a cool animation for updating the price. No idea how we'll do that, but looks kind of interesting. And it has a nice little swipe up effect as well, which is pretty cool. And there's also the screens here of the actual, let's see if this will come up. There we are, of the actual pages themselves, and excluding the other one. So that's what we're going to have a little bit of a go at. Hopefully that sounds okay with everyone. Let's assume so. I'm going to put this code into GitHub as we go through. So kphilpotts/coffee. And hopefully we don't get sued by Starbucks. All right. Cool. So let's, where should we start off? Let's start off by capturing some of the elements, right? Let's see if we can reproduce some of this design in Adobe XD, which is always a little bit of fun. So I've already created the GitHub repo. I've got myself a nice blank canvas here to do my design on. All right, so let's capture some elements. So the way I normally like to do this is I've got a design here. I think it's done for an iPhone X. So I'm gonna add myself a rectangle here. Same size as the page. And I'm gonna turn its border off. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to see if I can copy this image. And let's try pasting it into Adobe XD onto here. Is it gonna work? Beautiful. All right. The reason I like to put it in a rectangle is because once it's in a rectangle, we can then sort of adjust the size of these, which is pretty cool, right? So I can basically say, let's get this about how we feel it's gonna be. Probably about like, actually it needs to be a little bit bigger, doesn't it? How's that going? Nah, not quite there yet. How about that? That should be about right. Beautiful. And then we'll plonk that bad boy right there. All right, fair enough. So that's a good little design. Let's grab another page here as well. That's one of our pages. Hey, MJ Freelancing, how you doing? Yeah, I'm able to join in today. There's no Turkey Day here, so I'm all available. And I'm glad you're here. I'm going to just duplicate this actually. Okay, because then what I can do is I can go and just grab this fella and move it across to, I don't know. There we are. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we are. Something like that. Now there's also, apart from those two pages, there's also the actual, let's see if I can grab this one. There's the actual page when it expands up. So let me get ready with my clipboard here. Let's grab that. Beautiful. And I'm just going to plonk that there. There we go. And I'll create myself a new artboard, jam a rectangle in it like I did before. I can't see it, but there we go. And I'll grab this image here and paste appearance. There we go. Looks a bit squishy, doesn't it? Oh well. Doesn't matter. Yeah, give or take. It's always interesting with these designs because they're not quite representing real devices. So they've got some weird corners and things like that on it. But all right, that's the sort of basics of those three screens. All right, let's grab some resources out of this thing. So I'm going to create myself an artboard over here. Some rectangles. And let's steal a few colors. All right. So the most obvious is the accent color. Hey R2, how you doing? It's R2. So you can't argue with him. Guess what? What, R2?
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh how amazing you'll be.
G'day, Verus. I'm going to say Verus. Welcome to the channel. All right, R2, you're free. I don't know what that means, but I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. How are you doing? All right. So do you care to elaborate, R2? Is that a good thing? And also, Lachlan says, have I got a microphone? I'm assuming my audio is coming through all right. You tell me, right? Hi, Helmer. What's the name of this this design software? This is Adobe XD. So this is, well, Adobe's version of Sketch, I suppose. But it's really nice. There's a free personal edition. So if you have a look on their website, you'll see that there's a free personal edition. It's really nice for doing designs, basically. Yes, we need R2 to get a microphone. That's right. Always using plain Photoshop. Well, like, yeah, the advantage of this is that, well, one, you'll see that I'll be able to export the resources straight into an Android or an iOS project. But also it's vector based, you know, and also you can prototype things as well. Like, for example, if I wanted to do this, if I wanted to say, you know what, when somebody, let's say I did this, let's say I got rid of the fill in the background there. And then I said prototype, and I said, hey, when I click on this, I want to go to this screen, right? And then maybe I said, when I click on this area down here, I want it to basically go to this screen. I think I could now preview this design, right, on my screen. And I could say, hey, click add to bag, and we go to there. Click on here, and it goes to there. So you can kind of do some prototyping. You can animate those prototypes as well, which is really cool. So that's kind of why I like it. All right, here's a question. Any tips on beginning with coding? I have no experience, but AI and programming, it's fascinating to you. Yeah, I don't know. There's lots of coders here in the channel. I would be tempted. Look, if you want to get started with a lot of the Microsoft stuff, the place that sort of lives now is in Microsoft Learn. So there's lots of really awesome classes in here. So, you know, if you were I don't know, let's have a look. Let's I can never find the browse button on this website. Probably because I'm not signed in appropriately. But look, if you wanted to do something with you know, just getting started with Python, for example, you could do that. If you were looking at sort of C# and things like that, you can go and do that. And all this is free. You know, if you wanted to develop web applications, this is all free training. It sort of step you through it. So, you know, I'd highly recommend having a look at Learn. You know, or, you know, there's all the Udemy's and things like that. Yeah. Hey, Glenn Stevens, how you doing? All right. So, Glenn, I'm back to doing some UI challenges. So we're going to do this this Starbucks animation, which is pretty cool. So, you know, just a nice casual stream. Yeah, back on Fridays. That's right. So normally on a Wednesday night, I I stream with Lachlan. So a shout out to Lachlan. So Lachlan and I stream on a Wednesday night, and I used to do Friday streams all the time doing UI challenges. Actually, let me, while I'm here, on my blog, I've got most of those listed out. Hey, Lachlan. Yeah. So Lachlan's awesome. So we stream on a Wednesday night, Australian time. But Fridays, I normally do sort of UI challenges. I pick designs from, Dribble or somewhere, and then just basically go in and reproduce them in Xamarin.Forms. And normally each challenge will have something that's a little bit different that I'm trying to achieve. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. Let's have a look here. What I'm doing is I'm capturing some resources, some colors, right? So I've got the hero color. Hey, Ambush. Great, welcome. Pleased you found me. Let's get another color. So there's this lighter green that goes on here as well. That seems to be most of the accent colors, really. We've got other colors as well, which are things like this here. So designers rarely use black. So I bet you this is not black. Yeah, just as I thought. They just get random numbers and jam it in. So that's the color of our text. And I'm going to assume, rightly or wrongly, that that's pretty much the color of all of these other elements in here as well. And just different fonts. Now, speaking of fonts, let's see what they're using. It kind of looks like a pretty standard font. I'm going to guess this is going to be like an Open Sans or something like that. Let's try it. Mocha Frappuccino. I didn't know Frappuccino is a registered trademark. I thought it was an actual kind of coffee. So Open Sans. Let's have a look at that. Let's get that. Let's put it in that there. Ah, yes, Glenn, I do have a bunch of YouTube videos on them as well. Unfortunately, I don't get around to editing them. But yeah, if you go to like youtube.com/kphilpotts. Hey, Leanwit, how you doing? Thank you for the follow. Colin says raw is best in so many contexts. All right, and so here, this is just me doing various UI challenges in here as well. So if you want to,
we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
I get a double follow. Oh no, Leanwish, Ambush, beautiful. All right, so yeah, you can go and speed run through those if you like. All right, so what do we got here? So we got Mocha Frappuccino. I kind of normally like to do this, right? Just go and get a bit of a feel for if it's the same sort of font. I'm going to change it to semi-bold. Yeah, see, look, that's pretty similar, isn't it? Maybe it's even bold, actually. Let's try bold. Yeah, I'd say that's... You know, I'm going to pretty much go with that, I reckon. I reckon that's close enough for our design. 30 point? Sure, why not? All right. And let's just create this text down the bottom here as well. So our buttery caramel syrup meets coffee, milk, and ice for a rendezvous in the blender. It sounds like the start of a joke. Like a really bad joke. Let's go with a regular. Now this is a different color, isn't it? So we've got a few grays going on here as well. All right, so before I do that, maybe we'll put this up here. There we go, something. Let's grab, so there's this darker gray that's around here, and then there's also a lighter gray as well. which is this one back here. Pretty similar, but yeah. All right. And I reckon, I don't know, let's see if this is this darker gray. Probably not. That's a little bit light. So maybe our text is actually a different color. I often just sort of play around with this stuff for ages because it stops me from actually coding. Buttery caramel. That looks pretty similar. I wonder if it's a light. My only problem with the light is it tends to be a little bit... Is there a semi-light? No. Yeah, let's try a light. And I think it's a bit darker. Maybe, in fact, it may well be the color of this is actually the same as that. It's just because the anti-aliasing, it's a little bit different. So let's do this. Let's say, fill it with this. I reckon it's a slightly different gray. So this is how you waste time. Let's go with that. That looks about right. Buttery caramel. And the font size looks, what is it, 15? Yeah, it looks about right, maybe. Maybe we'll make it 14. Just got a little bit different spacing. But that'll do. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. All right, cool. So we've got our colors here. Beautiful. I think that's most of the colors. Yep. All right. Now, what else do we need to do here? Let's talk about how we might design this. So just looking back at the animation itself. So we've got a slide up panel and we've got a cute radio button as well. I'm thinking that it's really just one page with two content views inside of it. Oops, where's my Adobe XD? Let's have a look. So yeah, I'm thinking two content pages, just overlapped. One with this one with this one, and then what we do is we basically translate this up. So when they click on this button, this translates up. Okay, and then when they swipe on this, it translates up again, up to the top point here. So something like that. The actual page layout, I think I would probably, for this one, be tempted to just have a grid. Pages or views? Oh, did I say pages? I would say there's one page and two content views, and one content view slides over the other one. What do you think, Glenn? So Glenn Stevens is a magician at Xamarin. Agreed? Yeah, I think it's the easiest way. And you know, we'll play around with like either a swipe or a pan gesture for this to actually get it to go up. This actual page, look, I reckon that, so you're going to have a content view like this. It's going to have a grid inside of it. Probably in order to be a little bit more responsive, I think the elements that have to sort of stay in place are this down here, this here. So they've always got to be on the page. That one probably sits down there as well. So this, I'm thinking something like that. So have it basically a grid with 4 rows in it. And then this just sort of fills up the top section here. And it means if we're on a smaller size phone, it would just reduce the size of this image, because I figured the most important part is this bit down the bottom. So let's go with that. All right. Why don't we start off by just getting that swipe going first of all? That would be a good idea. All right. So I've got my. Oh, actually, let's grab some colors here. Now I've got this Adobe XD plugin which I continually fail to update, which would allow me to export these colors. But I'm going to just do it by hand at the moment. So I've just created a blank Xamarin.Forms project already. And so I'm going to go and stick in some resources. What do we got? God, I can't even remember how to code anymore. What should we call this? We should call this maybe brand color, accent color. Yeah, let's call it accent color. And let's throw that in there. Beautiful. And this will maybe call accent color light. How's that font size? Is that font size all right? Yeah, I think it's all right. Let's make a text color here. And a text color light. Which I think is actually this one here, isn't it? Now look, if I was cool at using Adobe XD, what I'd actually do here is something like this. I'd go here and I'd say, add this as a color. And I'd call this accent color. Right, and the reason I might want to do that is because if I was doing a design, I should be able to do this. I should be able to say, like, let's say I was drawing a rectangle here, and I said, let's make this the. You're going to do that for me? Let's say I made that the accent color, and then I decided to change that. I could just do it here, and I think that would. No, wait on, not there. I could come here and I could edit that and I could change it and it would change it in all places. So that's probably why if I was actually a designer, I would set up these colors. All right. The other color as well, let's just quickly see whether the background itself or this card foreground is actually white. Designers are tricky like that. Yeah, it's white. Okay. Let's put that in though. Let's just say front card background. Cool. Oops, I think I broke something. Come on, Visual Studio. It's not that hard. I can't blame Lachlan's live share this time. Here we go. Cool. Font card. All right, cool. Front card. All right. What else do we want? I think we should grab. Actually, let's just do the sliding parts first of all, because that's kind of interesting, and maybe we can get that done today. And what I might do is I might just spin this puppy up, and we'll design it using the live preview. Oops, wrong window, Kim. Wrong window. There we go. So here's our amazing design. Let me make this a little bit smaller and jam it above my head. There we go. And let's come to our main page here. Okay. All right, I'm going to start off with a grid for the background. All right, and inside of that grid, I'm going to have a content view, which I might move out to another file later on. And we'll make this the, let's make this the, it doesn't have to be a content view, but let's call this the back. What is it? What I'm trying to do here is basically this bag, that bag. So let's maybe call it my bag view. All right. And background color on this. We'll make this our accent color. Okay, let's see what that gives us. Background doesn't exist. Okay. You know what we'll do. Use our trusty old box view. Beautiful. All right, we got our background color. Love it. Let's go ahead and add another content view in here. And we'll call this our front card. Front card. Oh, naming's hard. And look, just for giggles, let's just put a box view in here. This is called static resource, and it's called something like front card background. All right, and so that goes over top, right? Because this comes after this. But look, what I could do here, right, and this is the idea, is that I can change the translation Y of this, right? So if I said this was like minus 100, okay, now it's sort of slid up the page, right? And so that's the idea of what we'll do with this slide up panel. It's a nice, cheeky, easy way of doing it. All right, cool. So we have our front card. It's probably going to want to have a grid inside of it, to tell you the truth. Because let's have a look at our front card. So we already talked about this. Now, interestingly, this here is really just the iPhone's like annoying little bar that it always puts there. This one here is actually in the content view. So we want to put that one in there. And how did we decide we're going to break this up? We said it was going to be like a grid, right? There was going to be like a thing and another thing and another thing. It's probably a stack layout something. And so I'm guessing that this is going to be, in terms of starring, this is in terms of sizing rather, this will be a star. This and this and this will probably be autos. All right, let's try that. And so let's put in a grid here. Row. Put that inside of our grid because grid's got to have something inside of it. Okay. And we'll say it has some rows, it has a star, it has an auto, and an auto, maybe. And then this guy here, this box view, is going to span multiple rows. It's going to span, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, I guess. Maybe about right. Yep, looks about right. Let's just have a look. Let's just translate this puppy up. Minus 100. Yep, still looking pretty good there. All right. Alrighty. Why don't we add in? So this is the background of the card. Why don't we go and add in maybe a rounded bottom on it? So this could really do this, and then we could have, if I bring my view back here, and I do a translate, bring it up a little bit. With this box view, I can probably do some corners. So it's going to have 0, 0. It's going to have, I don't know, let's say 25. Let's see what 25 looks like. There we are. So some bottom corners there. Beautiful. So Ambush, have I worked in React Native? I haven't, no. But I hear good things. I think I'm wearing a React Native shirt. Is it? Or maybe this, I don't know. Is that a React Native shirt? I don't know. But no, I haven't. But somebody on the chat might have. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in this little thumb that appears down the bottom here. And probably an easy way to do that is just with another box view, to tell you the truth. So let's go box view. Let's put it in grid row 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's make it vertically centered. Let's make it horizontally centered. Let's give it a width of, I don't know, let's give it a width of 100 to start with. Let's give it a height request of maybe 4 and a corner radius of 2. And let's see what that does. It does nothing because I didn't give it a background color. All right. So let's give it a color. Static resource, and I actually don't have a color for it yet. But there we are. That would be the idea. So let's go and have a look at what we were doing in colors. I'm going to guess it's this color here. So this is actually text color light. All right, so this is sitting right down the bottom, and it might be a little bit wide as well. Let's make it 80. I'm just wondering, maybe what I'll do is I'll make this bottom row an explicit size. So if I said that 25 high, there we are. Now it's down the bottom. Beautiful. All right, let's have a look at what happens if I do a translation. Get rid of the translation, put it back to 0. Yep, it's going to appear down the bottom. So we'll have to work on that a little bit. Because with the design, that sort of bottom corner and stuff actually comes off the bottom of the screen. So we'll have to have a look at that. So one way we could do that is actually, you know, if we were to give this a translation of 25, it's going to be like that, right? But then what we'd have to do is we'd have to have, now we get this green bit at the top, we can trick it, right? We could say, give it a minus 25 at the top. And that would trick it. Sweet, something like that. All right. Cool. Ambush, I am now in the process of transitioning my skills of JavaScript, HTML, and CSS to React. But Xamarin's really similar. Yeah, I don't know if I can comment on the similar side of things, but yeah, I'm finding myself transitioning the other way a little bit because I'm quite interested in learning Blazor, and I think to be successful at Blazor, you still got to understand a fair amount of HTML and CSS. But it's all a bit scary. All right. Where was I? All right, so we got that there, right? Let's see if we can get this running with a pan gesture. So here's an interesting question, right? When we have a design like this, where clearly when the person flicks, it goes up. So the question is, so there's multiple types of gestures we can have, right? Like with that there, one option is to do like a pan gesture. And a pan gesture is basically going to record as we move it up, and it's going to allow us to basically, as the user slides up, it does it. But the design kind of relies on a flick, and so what's the flick one called? A swipe gesture, maybe? Okay, so we could either do a pan or a swipe, but just for giggles, let's do a pan gesture to start off with. All right. So I add a gesture recognizer in here. Pan updated. Sure. Okay. I must just stop this now to So Ambush says, with the knowledge I have in Xamarin, it shouldn't be too hard for us to move to Blazor. Yeah, it should. Like, but still, you know, CSS is a thing, right? It's hard. All right, so we got our pan gesture. So with this, we get a pan updated. Okay, and so there's different states, right? So there's like a status type in here. What type is that? A gesture status. So we've got started, running, completed, cancelled. Oh my God, Dragon is here. It's been a while. I'm back. And you've just subscribed for 18 months in a row. That's amazing. Thanks, Dragon. Appreciate it. It has been a while, but look, I've kind of avoided talking about pandemic up until now, but pandemic, as you know, is a thing. Well, actually, technically today in Australia, in my state, we've now gone 28 days without having any cases. So technically by WHO standards, we've eliminated the virus, but we know that's not really true. Anyway, all of that was just to say that, of course, the last 6 months or so has been pretty tough and lots of homeschooling and things like that. So, so I haven't been doing these, but I'm hoping to get back to a regular schedule on a Friday. So, so it's good to see you back, Dragon. It's good to be back. Beautiful. Ambush CSS of in the history, you think? I hope so, because I did some animations with CSS for lower thirds. So, you know, making names appear down the bottom and stuff like that. It's sort of the same way that, you know, featured chat allows you.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
The way featured chat allows you to do this down the bottom. Yeah, and that was a real challenge.
Today we're gonna code
Oh, a couple of follows here.
Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing.
Lewis ADN, thanks for following. And thanks for following Cheeky Labs as well. So welcome. All right, maybe it's a good time to just have a quick look at what we're trying to do, and say hi to people. So basically, what I like to do in these Friday streams is take a design from Dribble. So in this case, it's because I'm not a designer, right? I just like implementing UIs in Xamarin.Forms, and I try and do them without resorting to a lot of platform code. So this is a design from Nat M Tran called Coughing Ordering Animation, and I thought it had some pretty cool transitions in it. So so basically, what I'm doing is yeah, I think here's some links for you. I think so. It's that there. And I'm going to throw the GitHub into that location. So that's what I do on a Friday. Normally it takes, you know, a few streams to get through a design because UI stuff is surprisingly takes a long time, particularly when you chat. And what I also like to do in this stream as well is, you know, if anyone has any questions about anything, ask away. It's pretty relaxed stream. So I'm happy to be sidetracked. But also, if you have a look at things, so particularly when Lachlan and I stream on a Wednesday night, we often get sidetracked and we often learn new things as well, because somebody will be in the chat, they'll be like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Which is really cool. So if as I'm going through, you see something that I'm doing and you're like, hey, you know what? You should do this a different way. Let me know. And then we all learn. All right. Anyhow, let's do this. Let's go and say on a pan gesture updated, when it's running, right, which means it's basically going. Can I not write switch statements? Why can't I write a switch statement? we got a status type, right? We need a case in there, of course. That's probably why. What we want to do is we want to basically get our front card and do a translation Y. So we're going to adjust the translation based on the amount that we've swiped or panned. I wonder if that'll do it. I might just do it. If all's going well, hopefully as I grab that handle and I move it up and down, it'll move that front card as well. Ooh, that's not ideal, is it? Wacky do. Oh, I think I know why. Yeah, that's going to cause someone a seizure, isn't it? Ready for production. Let's release it. I think what I need to do is I need to move the translation. I need to assign the translation. Like I need to basically say from where it is, let's add the amount to it. So Dragon, you don't get to do Xamarin much anymore. Pretty much the only person in my company that likes it. They prefer React Native or React via Iconic. Yeah, interesting. Somebody earlier on, who was it? Ambush? Was talking a lot about React Native. I think. Yeah, I'd be interested to know, or you know, Dragon, what your thoughts are on React Native. I just haven't played with it. Okay, that's pretty cool, right? So there we are. We've got our it's much more ready for production. Here, I'll tell you what the problem is. I'm just using my thumb to try and do this on my device. It turns out it's really hard because I've attached the gesture recognizer to this teensy tiny little bar here. And so it works when I'm using my mouse, but when I stick my big fat thumb over here, it's not working. So probably I probably want to have like a something that goes across the width of there. In fact, I can probably do this while it's running. Let's try it. All right. So maybe I could just do this. I could say, let's put a box view here. A lot of box views in today. Grid row 3 with a I wonder if this will work. Like, and move this gesture recognizer from there underneath this box view. All right, so this is effectively then just a box view that's occupying this sort of whole bottom bit where the corner is. Is it going to work? Here we are. So now I can grab it from there. That's a lot better. Hey Simop, how you doing? Welcome. We're back to doing some designs. I'm doing some little things. All right. So this is kind of like the hitbox for the gesture recognizer, if you will. All right. Beautiful. Works like a charm. Chilling with Counter-Strike. Is that a thing? Can you chill with Counter-Strike? It sounds like a pretty something that requires your attention. I'm really looking forward to getting a new console actually, and like I got a pretty good gaming machine, but yeah, playing for fun. Yeah, it's the way it should be. I love a bit of gaming. But of course, probably like everywhere in the world, so you can't get a PlayStation or an Xbox to save your life. All right. So what did Dragon say? Dragon said, I still prefer Xamarin, but that's because of .NET. Always been a .NET dev, as myself. The rest of the company is more JavaScript based, so things like React, TypeScript are really what we use. And that makes sense, right? Because people will often sort of say, oh, why should I use Xamarin? We're like a web shop. Why should we use Xamarin? It's like, maybe you probably shouldn't, right? Maybe you should go for something like React or React Native, because you're already doing sort of webby stuff and you understand those patterns. For me, I'm a .NET dev, so C# dev. So Xamarin works really well for me. So you use the tools that you like. Cool. So waiting for Christmas, you'll get Dual Universe. I don't know what Dual Universe is, but I do know that I've bought myself multiple games that my children will give me for Christmas. All right. What do I want to do with this? Let's throw a button in above this, shall we? We probably want a button with the background color of static resource, accent color. In our company, we went from Cordova to Xamarin. Well, that's good. I think everyone deserves to move on from Cordova. I shouldn't be cheeky. I've never used Cordova either, but that's cool. And Dragon, the Steam Autumn sale's going on right now. So I bought like 5 new games. I've got so many games in my Steam catalog that I've never even launched. It's ridiculous. But I can't help it. When there's a game for nothing, it's like, yeah, let's get it. All right, we got a button. What's my favorite game? I don't know. Look, what am I doing at the moment? I've been through a whole bunch of PS5 games. Sorry, not PS5. I wish it was PS5. PS4 games. So Last of Us 2 and the Spider-Mans and the God of Wars. I really like those. Sort of single player, really. I'm too old to do shooters. My reactions are too slow. I actually got and it's a really old game, but the Witcher 3 on PC, and been playing that a little bit. Just because I've only played a little bit of it, but it seems really cool. It gets really good reviews, obviously. I've not played Journey. No. But I tend to play games on easy mode, because I'm sort of more in it for the story. So Journey, what's that? Is that a PS5 or PS4 console game? My daughter is looking forward to Stray on the PS5, probably PS4 as well, which is about. It looks like Cyberpunk 2077, but for cats. Okay, Journey done. $10 US. See, that's how Steam gets you, isn't it? Let's add this button, add to bag. Zero, 1, 2. That's a big button. Yeah, sorry, R2. You know what I should do with you, R2? I should I should get you on to teach me all about how to write coded UIs in C#. But yeah, look, you know, I like the XAMLs. I like the XAMLs. So, Simor, will I use a similar technique as in the UI for arts? Yeah, so basically, I'll be moving this up. So basically translating this up for moving things. Let's have a look back here. So there's a few things that move, like this will be cool, right? Let me pause this at the right time. So, oops. So this will be interesting because this is, I think, probably a little lottie thing to do that. Where's my mouse? Where's it drawing without me clicking the mouse button? But yeah, I think these elements just stay on the page and translate up. These other ones, well, actually, it's kind of two ways you could do that. Let's have a look at that bottom bit. Technically, I could actually have another green content view that slides up. Either that or I just get the actual elements themselves. So like these elements here and just translate them up the page. Sorry, I would be drawing normally, but for some reason it's ignoring my mouse. So it's wherever I go with my mouse, it's drawing a red line. But yeah, basically a similar design. Okay, so Live Sharp has got some cool new features. Do you know what I should do? All right, this is what I'm going to do. Because as Dragon says, excited for Maui. Even though I'm pretty sure you can still do all your XAML goodness in Maui, it feels like, and again, I've got no information on this, it feels like Maui is going to be much more suited to doing coded UIs. Because I think we're going to be able to start using like Visual Studio Code and all that sort of goodness. Again, I don't know that. But maybe it's time for me to do some coded UI challenges. And then maybe R2 can just sit there and snipe at me as I make a fool of myself. Yeah.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Hey, and Angworth7, welcome. Thank you for the follow. We're just doing some things. Hey, I just realized, see this here? As I scroll this, when I use my mouse, it doesn't work on that little bit there. And the reason for that is because this is sitting over top of it. So I can if I put an input transparent here, equal to true, it should now pass that through to the bottom. Yeah, beautiful. You use I drew a channel points. So Simba, I've used your UI challenges for my learning. I had only one problem with MVVM. Yeah, again. So I've got a lot of learning to do. I think when Maui becomes a little bit more fleshed out to start thinking or start learning about MVU. So that's what I want to learn at some point. Yeah. So input transparent equals true on the scroll view. Yeah, because it will try and capture all it. Why would you put a Google map in a scroll view though, Dragon? Doesn't Google Map Control already do scrolling? Yeah, there are, and also Dragon, yeah, there's some differences on Android and iOS, right? Like with input transparent. Also, when things are like opacity of 0, iOS ignores them, but on Android it doesn't, which is annoying. Maybe I got that the wrong way around. Okay, here's a cool thing I learned about the other day. See how I add to bag here. We want that to be upper and lowercase, but Android just says, hey, guess what? Guess what? You've got to be in uppercase. There's a translation, text transform. And none is not what I want. What have we got? Default. Well, let's see what default is. Default. Oh, wait on. None was it. There we are. None. There we are. So now we've got add to, we got that. Beautiful. Now, how big is this button? It's that big. It's got rounded corners. So it's got a margin. Let's give it a margin of 20, 0, 20, 0. And of course, mfractal will tell me, you know what? You can make that simpler. Okay. What we'll do is we'll give this a height request of, say, let's see what we get. 40. And then we can give it a corner radius as well. 20. Still looks a bit big, doesn't it? Well, the font's all wrong. That's probably about right. Okay. So I have a partial page with vehicle information at the top, and it's a fair bit of information. So we show or hide the map, and when the map is shown, we want to be able to be large enough to show useful information. So we put it inside a scroll view to give space. So we put it inside a scroll view to give it space. Oh, I see. I see. So when the map's there, it's too much. So you have to be able to scroll that content. Mind you, if I think if your scroll view is bigger than, if you could you not have like a stack layout with a map and then a scroll view with your content, or the other way around, and then just hide the other element? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, that's the reason why. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you got to watch out with scroll views and around scrollable things. Okay. Yeah. User bit. Damn users getting in the way. Fair enough. All right. Okay. So we got. Okay. We probably want to stop that from going up too high. Well, the other question is, I don't even know if this should be a pan gesture recognizer or not, to tell you the truth. because in the design, it's kind of more of a swipey thing. Anyway. Okay. Now the other trick here as well is this does something kind of interesting in that the bar down here is not even visible until they click add to bag, and then add to bag sort of moves it up, and then they can swipe. Yeah. So yeah, it's sort of a two-part. Now I reckon we could maybe do it with this idea of states. You know, we have a state which is totally collapsed, and then we have a state where we're viewing that mostly collapsed, and then a state where it's expanded up, and we can go through those three states. That might be a nice way of doing it. So why don't we try that? Try that. All right. So I think what I'll do, let's try this. Let's go back to GitHubby, and let's steal some code from should radio buttons show text on Android? Don't they? Just trying to think. I don't even know where there's a place with radio buttons. Just trying to find a place. A lot of switches. There's radio buttons. Are you saying that it doesn't actually have text in the control itself? Cool. All right, let me do this. Oh, it has a property, but it's not displayed, right? I'm going to be really bad, and I'm going to copy code from one project to another. Don't hate me. Copy paste. What do I call it here?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
All right, let's set up some states. throw a cheeky enum here. So we've got 3 states. We've got like collapsed. Let's try that. We've got mostly collapsed. And then we've got expanded, maybe. They're terrible names, and I'll have to come up with different ones. But let's try this. Equals a new animation state machine. Anim states dot add a new. We want to add, say, the state for collapsed, and we want to have a close, peak, and open. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's awesome. They're much better names. Beautiful. Love it. All right. Awesome. So this takes a collection of view transitions. Something. Trying to remember the arguments for this. So we say a new view transition for, okay, do we have names on these things yet? Well, actually, it's going to just be it's going to be just front card at the moment, right? So let's just go front card. So for front card, it's going to have an animation type of translate Y. And when this is closed, we're going to say its translation is at 0. Cool. So we've got these other cool names, peak and open. And we're going to say when it's at peak, it's say at minus 100. And then we're going to say when it's open, it's minus the height of the page. Because we want it to, oh no, not quite minus the height of the page. So it's going to be it's basically going to be the page height, or this dot height, minus 25, which is our sort of, which is basically this bit up here. Because we don't want it to go right over off the page, or you can't click it. So that's kind of what we're after, I think. All right, I'll put some of these numbers into less magical places. Because depends on where I set these states up, we're not going to have the page height. Like I always find this really annoying with the ordering of events, because I want to set this up in on appearing, but I think in on appearing, I don't always have the height of the page. So for example, if I was to just go on appearing, I'd really want to go set up states, right? But in reality, that's not going to work because the height of the page at that point, this dot height, is going to not necessarily be the height of the page, I think. And also it should be responsive as well. So we might have to do something. I'm never sure the way to do this either. So one way I could do it, I could say size changed and slap an event on here. I could override size changed as well. Anyway, let's just try one way, see what works. I think I need to do that. I'm also going to add a click event on this bad boy. And I'm going to say something like, I'm going to rename this. And I should be able to say, go to page states peekadoodle. Initially. It's not going to work always, but let's start with that. Okay. We've got S states here, so we're just dealing with that at the moment. Cool. I feel I had to do some magic with this once before. Yeah, in fact, I bet you this on appearing is going to give it a call before that. So let's do that. Let's just see what happens. We're already in this state. Okay, but that will take us back there, right? Not what we not what we necessarily want. Let's get rid of this translation first of all, then. All right. See, I think this is where we have a problem because this is not animating up. And I think the reason why is because when it comes in here and sets up the states, it loses. This has got a weak reference to the controls and it loses them. So I think we need to do this. We need to new that puppy up. Just quickly test. On size allocated. Yeah, I think it's the same thing, actually. I'll go with you, Dragon. Okay, cool. So that goes up. So obviously we don't want that button to always take us there, but anyway. All right. So this thumb should only appear when it's in this state. So it shouldn't appear when it's down here. It's only when you do that it starts appearing. So we can do that really easily. So we can say when we're closed, our thumb has an opacity of 0. When we're in peak, it has an opacity of 1. And when it's open, it has an opacity of 1. Yeah, so we could do this. Let's make that change, see if it works. Override on size allocated. Can't spell height. Let's do it. Oops. Let's do that. Okay, that's interesting, Dragon. Docs say okay. Let's just see if this works now. Actually, I'm only going to be able to test this once, aren't I? Hang on. Oh, you should be invisible. Ah, see. There we are. There we are. Now it becomes visible. Cool. Here's a question for you. Should we, with this design, given that it kind of relies on the fact that the user sort of flicks up. Now, at the moment, I've got like a pan gesture recognizer, right? Which means that I can be in all sorts of intermediate states here. But this one is kind of more like when it flicks, everything just sort of animates up together. So I'm actually wondering whether we'd be better off with a swipe. No worries, Dragon. Go enjoy Diablo. Never played it, but super popular. See you on the next one. Absolutely. I think I'm going to change this to a swipe. and we'll see how it feels. We can always change it. So the way I've always had to do this, according to the doc, I should be able to say up and down, but it's never worked for me. I've always had to have multiple swipe gesture recognizers. So what I mean by that is like this. We go into the code. Okay. So when we get a swipe up, we should say anim states go to page states open. And when we get a swipe down, we should go into peak. Nice, thanks, Ambush. Beautiful. So yeah, normally around this time. So keep on streaming. Very chilling and entertaining. I appreciate it. And yeah, have a good night's sleep. Sleep's important. All right, let's see if this works. Swipe up, swipe down. Get rid of the pan gesture recognizer. Maybe this will just work. Yeah. Swipe up. Swipe down. Let's try it with my real thumb. Yeah, that works pretty well. Beautiful. All right. Now I might be calling it a day soon as well, because it's a work day for me, so I'll need to be off in 12. But look where we're at. We're going to swipe up, we're going to swipe down. I might actually just pull some of those resources back in as well. Because maybe, hey, let's do a little bit more. Oops. Look, this is, I won't tell your boss that you're here if you don't tell one. That's when my boss pops out in the chat and says, what are you doing? No, actually, I'm pretty fortunate. I often see that you pan, for example, 25%, and then it is like swipe. Do you mean a pattern that you see, Simon? Like for me, I don't know what it looks like on the screen, but it's basically just a flick. But yeah, in some apps, you know, I kind of prefer it, like, to tell you the truth. Like, I'm kind of a little bit rude, and I always say, what would my dad do? Or my mum? And you know, they probably wouldn't have a cracker what to do. But let's say that they actually discovered that there's these things called thumbs, and they knew that if you do that, see, if I just slide up like that, you know what I mean? That's That's, so I'm touching down and then swiping up, right? It's not doing anything, right? It's only if you flick it. So I actually reckon a better option would be to allow it to move. Yeah, exactly what you're saying, basically. Allow it to move and then make it go. The problem, I think, though, is you can't have a pan gesture recognizer. Community Toolkit has a control for this. What we could do is if I have a pan gesture recognizer, so if I have a pan gesture recognizer and a swipe gesture recognizer, let's have a look at what this does. I'm going to restart the app. Do you have any other docs? Let me know if you find it, Lachlan. Yeah. So what I'm thinking, right? See, because you can't do that, right? So I need to get rid of the. I don't even know what that's doing. What is that doing? Yeah, it's doing weird things. Yeah. So what I think I would do here then is actually get rid of these ones. Go with my good friend the pan gesture recognizer, but then have some logic in it. Yeah. Well, they won't get called, right? So maybe what we do is we could. So, I mean, you could do this, right? But I think this is going to do some weird stuff, right? If I say this is less than minus 300, say, then I'm going to say go to open. So if probably have to have some additional logic in here. If Adam states current state, what is that bracket doing there? Is Zoiks, what am I doing? Yeah, I don't have to do it, but I think I would want to do it, actually. Page state. Page states. Oh, I see. I just can't. That should be typed. That would be much cooler. Yeah, okay. I think it's better to check total Y of pan. But the total Y of the pan is the amount that it's panned since last time. It's not actually the total Y. Lachlan sends through some goodies. Let's have a look at this. Side view menu. Yeah. Yeah, gesture threshold. Gesture state. So that's sort of what my state engine's doing there. But I wonder if that does swipes. Does it do swipes or does it just do slide? It only does left and right. Yeah. Look, we can do this. We can do this pretty easy, right? I reckon. Let's just try it. If we were to say, if my current state is equal to, let's just try this, to peak, for example. What's going on here? All right, there we go. And then if our card is less than 300, then go to that state. But then I would have to cancel that, wouldn't I? So if this works, what it should do is once I get above 300, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not going to work actually. It'll expand up. That'll be cool. Right, so actually it won't do anything. Once I get above a certain amount, it will flip up to the top. Yeah, but then it comes back again as well. Yes, and after go, place a return, and you must if before the get plus equals, yeah. It feels a bit nasty though, doesn't it? No. We don't want to do that. In reality, shouldn't we be able to just flick it from anywhere though? Like, I actually think it has more to do with the speed that you're doing it, right? If, like, I should be able to be down here and go flick. I should be able to be here and go flick. I shouldn't have to get up to a certain height. Why don't we start off with something like, let's try and make this a little bit simpler. All right. You mean when it stops? Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm thinking. Oops. What would happen if we did a gesture status of completed? And what's this? This is probably a double. If we did total y, for example, and then if we were to say something like, if, I don't know if this is going to work, if the last velocity is less than minus, I don't know, I'm just pulling a number out my bum here. Let's just say 10, right? Which means I'm moving upwards. Then what we do is we set we go to page states dot open. And we could say if the last velocity was greater than 10. So basically the velocity when you finish something like that. And so hopefully what that will do is it means that it's going to translate, it's going to keep translating, but when you complete, if you were going fast, it was a flick. And so therefore, I don't know, let's find out. So we're out here. So I can still do this, right? And that's cool. We're all good, right? But if I was to flick, it's going to go all the way up. And if I flick, it goes all the way down. But it would also work from here, for example. If I was halfway up the page and I said flick, it would go all the way to the top. And then what we could do, so that seems to work. Then what we could do is we could say, because we don't want it to actually end in this intermediate state, we could say, you know what, if I'm above like a third, like what you were saying, Simor, so if I release there, regardless of whether I was flicking or not flicking, it's going to zip it up to the top. Otherwise, it'll take to the bottom. Something, something. So otherwise, we want to have a look and see if the front card dot translation y is less than, I hate these numbers, they're all ass about, minus, I think this is the open threshold. After some attempts, deleted gestures and made buttons. You know, it makes a lot more sense with buttons. Let's say open threshold. And I'll tidy this code up later on. So that's going to be like, let's say it's minus 300. Now, in reality, should be a third of the screen, really, something like that. So if I said open threshold minus 300, if it's less than, oh, open threshold. Did I set that to be minus 300? I did. Yep. Then we go to open. I feel like there's going to be some else ifs in here. That's just horrible, isn't it? It's got to be a nice way of doing that. Else, we always want it to go to open or peak. So if we're going fast upwards at the completion, we go to open. Otherwise, if we're going fast downwards, otherwise, if the translation is less than the open threshold, we go open. Yeah, maybe it'll work. And then I'm probably going to have to call it quits. So let's get this working, and then we can so we need to obviously start this in a different state, but okay, so if I swipe up here, okay, I haven't gone up enough. That's cool. They have to be faster as well, these animations, but there we are. It sort of goes down to the bottom there. If I come up a decent amount, it goes to the top. That will still go to the top. This will go to the bottom. And if I'm somewhere like here and then I swipe, it'll go up. Or if I just swipe from there, it'll go down. I think I need to pick this hit target a little bit higher. There we are. So I can swipe up, I can swipe down. So I should just put the phone in front of me. Or I can do it this way. There we are. That feels pretty good. I think I just need to make that hit target a little bit bigger. There we are. Swipe you up. It's going to be hard to do with the mouse probably. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like it should actually have some smoothing on it, because if you're like me and you're no good at using a mouse or your finger, if the last update was slower, it doesn't detect it, which is why I think why sometimes when I'm doing it, it's not catching it. But look, it works pretty well. Okay. I'm good. That's cool. I reckon that works. All right. Let's have a look at what we're at with the design. So like I said, I'm probably gonna have to get going. I'll be interested to see what Andre's done, because he's like a magician. So I think I'd like to dig through this code. Thanks, Lachlan, for sharing that. But look, we've added sort of the basics of S-swipe in, so that's good. I think the rest of this should be pretty quick to do. Actually, that's famous last words. This is not going to be quick to do. This is like a radio button. I thought I'd try using shapes for it. This animation on these is going to be tricky as well. Anyway, we'll find out. All right. So how long I've been coding with Xamarin? So let me tell you my Xamarin story. Actually, I can't remember how many years, but I used to work at a company doing just C# development, Windows Forms, right? And then the manager came to me and he said, we need these mobile applications. We need it on iOS and Android and at the time, Windows RT, right? And we need this, well, Windows Phone. We need this application. and I was the dev manager, and we were all C# developers. So I had a look around and I saw this thing called Xamarin, right? I knew about Mono, and I saw Xamarin, and then did some investigation into that, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. And it turns out Glenn Stevens, who was in the chat earlier on, was one of the certified Xamarin partners in Australia. And so I got him to come down and give us a crash course on Xamarin. And so he spent like a few days with us, taught us Xamarin, introduced us to Xamarin, and then we started developing, and then we got him back a few times. So that was I don't know, I'm gonna guess like 7 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, probably longer actually. And so Xamarin.Forms wasn't a thing then. Anyway, I totally fell in love with Xamarin, and then on Twitter, Xamarin was looking for people, and so I applied to Xamarin over Twitter, and so I joined Xamarin. So joined the company and was an instructor at Xamarin University with Glenn, right? And so then I was teaching at Xamarin University for a few years, and then Microsoft acquired Xamarin, and then I've been at Microsoft for 5 years or something, close to 5 years. So long story short, how long I've been coding with Xamarin? 7 years, 8 years. Yeah. So you're using Flutter. I'm really interested by Flutter, but Xamarin and Reactive are the most competitive frameworks. Yeah. I think Xamarin did a little bit of disservice to Xamarin.Forms. So you can call me a senior Xamarin dev. Yeah, you can call me that. In that, with Xamarin.Forms, it was always sort of touted as just like for business apps, but you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. Particularly if you go more the route of, like Flutter is basically, it's using a lot of C# and drawing stuff, and you can do all the same stuff in Xamarin.Forms as well, So, for example, like here's one of my other UI challenges. Let's see if it's on here. I'm sure it will be on here. If I could use an Android phone, that would be easier. So for example, this one here, and like doing transitions like between these elements here and all this sort of stuff. That's all just straight Xamarin.Forms. With a little bit of C# to do the transition upwards. And the only reason I used C# for that was because I wanted the sort of text, the gradient to actually go through, like where it says Iron Man, for example. That's all just straight Xamarin.Forms stuff, and even with some C#. So if you're willing to do a little bit of C#, you can do just about anything you want. This is my favorite C# thing, actually. No, not this one. That's not my favorite one. This one. So the transition, let me make this a little bit bigger. This transition here, as you sort of swipe between here. So that's just Xamarin.Forms mixed with C#. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, Flutter, I think there was a little bit of Flutter's better, Xamarin.Forms is better, blah, blah, blah. But I think you just choose whatever you like. Anyway, speaking of things, I think I'm going to have to get going. So I'm going to check in some changes here. Save that design. Something. I'll put that in there. Oh, Ionics Junior rating with a channel of with 4. Hi, how you doing? How's things? I was actually just about to finish myself. Let me show you what we're working on. So is that Xamarin Brazil? Xamarin BR Brazil? Yeah. Hey. So yeah, welcome. All right, let me show you. I'm just about to finish as well, so sorry about that. But I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm back to UI challenges. So some of you are familiar with that. Xamarin Brazil. You know, there's so much cool stuff going on. You know, in Brazil, there's so many kick-ass Xamarin people. So well done. So back to UI challenges. Doing this one here. All I was doing today was just sort of getting the design. So I had Adobe XD open. I was doing the design for that. And then also just doing the swipeable panels. So we had a little bit of fun play around with gesture recognizers and different states. So I'll just run it for you. Because one of the things that we wanted to do here was, if I expand this out a little bit here. So, you know, once we've got this, we want to be able to, you know, swipe up and down. So that's cool. That's nice and easy. But what we also wanted was, if you've only sort of expanded a little bit, it sort of closes back down. Or if you're up here, it sort of expands. So that's a pan gesture recognizer, but we had to write our own sort of swipe, I suppose. So so basically, if we that was not cool. If I swipe down from the top here, it'll still do that. Or if I'm halfway up and I swipe up, it'll go up. So or if I'm down here and just let go, yeah. So we're just playing around with that, and then next time we're going to go and implement the rest of this coolness. So the cool things about this challenge. The animation of this text here. I'm going to use some, so this is going to be like a custom radio button of some sort, I think. But I thought I'd use paths for that. And you know, there's a few other opportunities for paths as well. Like for example, you know, just even this ellipse at the background. So yeah, that's what we're doing. But I have to jump off, unfortunately. But you know, thanks for the raid. Do you guys know anyone or girls know anyone else to raid? Because I'm gonna forward on the raid. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find somebody. But what were you working on, Ionics Junior? Doing Xamarin development?
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts and oh how amazing
Xamarin Live Coders.
you'll be.
A calendar view. Oh, awesome. Hey, Eric, thanks for the follow. Yeah, so I sort of do this on a Friday. And on a Wednesday night, I stream as well with Lachlan.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts.
The Zalander.
Amazing you'll be.
Hey, thanks for the follow, MH4. Beautiful. A Zalander. Are you going to add it to the community toolkit? Hopefully so. Yeah. Like, I don't know if there's any good calendar controls apart from if you sort of decide to, like, if I had to do a calendar control, I'd just give up. No, I would I would probably at the moment be tempted to sort of look for Sync Fusion or something like that. But let's have a look. The Zalander. Hey, that's good looking. Nice. Here's some familiar names down here. You haven't started the design. It looks good. Yeah, that looks awesome. Fantastic. Well, let's know how it goes. Maybe you have to make it templated so as you can put your own. God, he's very modest. Yeah. See, I do like UI stuff, and it's kind of like really easy compared to people who write controls. so I have a lot of respect for people who can write quality controls, because that seems like a really hard job. So nice one. But yeah, I think you know, if you end up with something that sort of goes into the community toolkit or something, that would be awesome. All right. Look, where can we raid? Anyone got any ideas? We're talking about to add the template feature to this control. Yeah, it seems like a good way forward. And Javier has some good information on that too, right? Alrighty, so I've checked this in. I don't know if there's any more. Ride your bed? Maybe raid your bed. Simov, well, thanks for joining us. I don't know. I don't. Look, I feel bad about not raiding somebody. I must raid somebody, particularly because you guys just raided as well. Just I wish there was an easier way in Twitch to just sort of say, find me somebody cool. All right. So we do have CM Griffin, who's been live for 7 hours. That seems like a long time. Search somebody cool. Oh, I wish. Dum, dum, dum. Code and chill? No. Why don't we go and... Why don't we go and screen is blank? Oh, my apologies. So this is the... by the way, this is the best place. Sorry, that I kind of know to go for coding streams. I don't know if you know about this one. This is like belly.io. And it's pretty cool. So you can go to the programming stream and then you can see who's programming at the moment. Like me. So this is pretty cool. This guy does mostly pranking. Yeah. By the way, Ionics or anyone else who streams as well, there is a way. There we are. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in here because those of you who stream, who don't know about this one, go and submit your stream, and then you can appear in the list whenever you go live. You don't have to do anything else. It just, like, I don't know, uses the Twitch APIs, I suppose, to work out when people are going live. Yeah. And normally it's a lot more. You can see there's lots of people here, various streaming, and it's all programming streams. Cool. All right, let's just go with, yeah. Let's go with CM Griffing. What do you reckon? We'll go and raid there. Because he's part of the live coders. So we should go and join there. All right. But I'm going to jump off. I'm going to be here next week, of course. Oh, here we are. Let's see if I can roll some credits. No, that's not it. Thanks for hanging out. So thanks people who followed. Lachlan, our moderator, and some people who followed today. So take care, everybody, and I'll see you next time. I'll set this raid up. And thank you so much. See you next week. Bye for now.